So Ben-Gvir was here in the United States. He's doing, I guess, this U.S. tour. Member of the Likud party, has some nerve to even set foot in this country, and in my opinion. But he was here hosting events, and apparently at one of these events, there was a woman who turned out to be a Jewish woman that was attacked by Zionists, I guess in some way, shape, or form, trying to defend Ben-Gvir. Now you can see when he arrived, I want to show you this. You'll see when he arrived here, there were protesters waiting for him, telling him to go home. Check this out.
You piece of shit! This is our city. That's not Synagogue.
Where the hate?
This one, yeah.
When I was young, I used to think that we have to kick out all the actors. And today I think the situation is more complex.
Genocide, Nazi, Nazi.
Yeah, not someone that I would think most people who have been paying attention to what's happening in Gaza really want to speak with at this point in time, or even see in their town or in their city. Ben-Gvir is probably one of the even more racist members of the Likud party. He has said very disgusting things about Palestinian people on video. He's also been seen on video saying, "We want all the land belongs to us." Netanyahu is disgusting. I would say Ben-Gvir is a level above that, even nastier. Now, Code Pink confronted Ben-Gvir, along with the protesters. Media confronted Israeli war criminal Ben-Gvir today at the U.S. Capitol, and he completely lost it. And this is the Ben-Gvir that we are used to seeing. Watch this.
You kill baby! You kill baby! You kill baby! You kill baby!
You are a racist. No, you are a war criminal. You are a war criminal.
Again, at the beginning, he is pointing fingers at Medea Benjamin and Cold Pink activists and telling them that they killed baby, right? As if Israel hasn't killed all these damn children, still spreading the lie that Hamas beheaded babies. We all know that has been debunked over and over again, but he needs to try to get some type of sympathy for Israel. So he continues to say, you killed the babies, you guys killed the babies, even though we have literally seen footage of Israel killing children. This is how propaganda works. Because the idea is that if you keep repeating it over and over, eventually it'll start to sink into the minds of the people and people will begin to believe it. But this time it isn't working. Why do you guys think he's here? Why do you think this guy is here, man? He knows the majority. They saw the poll the same way we saw that poll. He saw that poll that the majority of Americans are not supporting Israel anymore. So he's here to come and try to spread that propaganda and try to get people back on the side of Israel, because it's not good for Israel. It doesn't look good. They are imploding internally right now. They have internal chaos in Israel right now. So he points his finger at Medea Benjamin.
You kill baby! You kill baby! You kill baby! You kill baby!
You are a racist. No, you are a war criminal. You are a war criminal. a war criminal who spews hatred. You are disgusting. And you destroy my religion. You destroy my religion. And you are hatred. You be in The Hague. You are a racist, war criminal, and you're hurting.
It is true. He is a racist. Like I'm not even like he's said very disgusting things. He said kill them all. He said that Palestinian people were animals. Like he is very disgusting. And Medea Benjamin, don't forget, she is Jewish, right? So she's saying you are killing my religion. And this is especially so important for people to really understand, right? There is Judaism and there is Zionism. And for some, they want to continue practicing Judaism, practicing their religion. When you have people like Ben-Gvir who conflates the two, and I would argue, I don't think a lot of the settlers in Israel are religious. I don't think a lot of them are. I think a lot of them are secular. But when you conflate the two, it can give some people the impression that this is how all Jewish people feel. And that's not true. A lot of the people that were at the protest were Jewish. So people like Ben-Gvir, yeah, he's a problem. He is a problem. So go Medea.
You're a criminal and you're hurting my religion. My religion as a Jew, you are creating the anti-Semitism. I never supported 9/11. You support genocide. You're destroying Judaism with your hate. Baby killer, extremist, racist, ethnic genocide. Get out of our house. We don't want you here. And you're destroying my religion. You're creating anti-Semitism. Shame on you.
Yeah, can we all please give a big applause there for Medea Benjamin, right? Standing up to him face to face. Do you hear what he said to her? He said, you supported 9/11. Anything, right? Now, there's a reason why I wanted you to see that, because I want you to see what happened to this woman, right? So this woman, bring this up here, was walking down the street. This woman walking down the street, right? The behavior that you see from Ben-Gvir is similar to the behavior that you're going to see from the men who attacked this woman. Shout out to you, Dropsite News, for this. In addition to being repeatedly kicked in the back of a mob of pro-Israel supporters chanting death to Arabs, the video shows one man heaving a full garbage can into the woman's legs, knocking her off balance. Again, this is a female. This is a woman. Watch this. Did you see that? He threw something at her head. Watch this. You see how this man just walked up to this woman and hit her in her head? Where's the outrage? Where's the outrage? Oh, I forgot. There's only supposed to be outrage at the peaceful pro-Palestinian protesters. The police are only supposed to come and kick them out and beat them, right? At the peaceful protesters. But you literally have a mob of Zionists following this woman down the street, kicking her and hitting her in her head. There's a cop right there with her. This is what no accountability looks like. This is what no accountability looks like. Let's continue. him against this one woman. Again, where are all the police with their riot gear? Where are the police with their riot gear the same way they showed up to confront the peaceful Palestinian protesters? Where are all those people at? Where are they at? Nowhere. Nowhere.
There's some weird Palestinian. Is that you? You want someone to bend you over and fucking rape you like they're doing?
So do you see how they're threatening her? Again, by the way, at the time, they don't know who this woman is. They assume that she's, I guess, Arab American. They assume she's a pro-Palestinian protester. They have no idea who this woman is, but you're going to find out. Yeah. So when this guy throws something at her head, why wasn't he arrested? Do you guys see how dangerous this is? This is what happens when there's no accountability. How people can just get away with things and all this kind of stuff just because of who they are. Look at this. They threatened this woman. I felt sheer terror. New York woman speaks out after mob attack outside synagogue hosting Israeli minister Ben-Gvir. So do you see what just happened? The same type of energy and behavior that you saw come from Ben-Gvir towards Medea Benjamin is the same type of behavior that you see coming from this mob that went after this woman. They were shouting at me, threatening to grape me. You see this? And there was a cop right there. Cop right there. Chanting death to Arabs. I thought the police would protect me from the mob. They did nothing to intervene. They did nothing to intervene because they gave those guys a pass. Imagine if it was the other way around. I want you to picture this. We'll use two different scenarios. Imagine if it was the pro-Palestinian protesters walking down the street after that woman that way. Imagine if it was that. Oh, the police would have shown up in riot gear and saying, arrest them all. You guys are evil. Arrest them all. Imagine that. Imagine that. Let's switch it around. Imagine if it was the BLM protesters who were walking down the street harassing this woman like that. The police would have been there in riot gear. But for some reason, there is one group that seems to be protected and not held accountable. They did this in front of a cop. You can't even say it's he said, she said. They said this right in front of an officer because they know they will not be held accountable. You can even see it here. Different angle. Who is the aggressor in this situation? This woman is being escorted by a cop. Who is the aggressor in this situation? Because you see, this is what people need to see. Nobody. They had no reason to follow this woman. We'll get into the details a little bit more. This woman did nothing to them. They had no reason to follow this woman down the street, to kick her, to throw things at her, to threaten her. No reason. Okay? But yet, New York City had a mayor, Eric Adams, who sat up there for years and supported stop and frisk, which allowed NYPD police officers to target Black males who are just walking down the street minding their own business. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think people should be searched walking down the damn street. But you got a whole mob right here. Where is Eric Adams? Where are all the police officers that lined up to escort Luigi Mangione, who they didn't even know was guilty or not, but called them guilty to make it seem like they're the superheroes in some corrupt Batman flick? Where are all those police officers now? When you have a mob, so all of you guys can get together and escort one person who's accused of killing a CEO, but you have a giant mob walking down the street, and because it's a different group, you're nowhere to be found. Don't tell me that there isn't privilege for some in this country. Don't tell me that there isn't entitlement for some in this country. Don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. You see it in real life, plain as day.
Your John voice is going on. TikTok is going on.
Now they can chant death to Arabs, but pro-Palestinian protesters can't say from the river to the sea. Where's the executive order to protect Arab Americans? Where's the executive order? Where's the executive order to protect Black Americans? Where's the executive order to protect Indigenous Americans? There is none. The whole damn government is bought. I don't give a damn if you're one of the politicians that don't take money from AIPAC or not. You're in a party that does. That part there, you can see he pushed over that trash can to try to trip her, right? Again, no arrest whatsoever, right? So when you hear people say, oh, don't talk about race, it's divisive. Don't talk about that, it's divisive. Who the hell are they trying to protect? Should you not talk about Israel because it's divisive? Should you not defend the Palestinian people because it's divisive? This is ridiculous. All of these men still have their jobs, okay? And this woman walking down the street. Now let's get into a little bit of the details here so you can see. A Brooklyn woman said she feared for her life as she was chased, kicked, spit at, and pelted with objects by a mob of Orthodox Jewish men who mistook her as a participant in a protest against Israel's far-right security members. The assault, recorded by a bystander, unfolded on Thursday near the global headquarters of the Chabad Lubavitch movement in Crown Heights, where an appearance by Ben-Gvir set off clashes between pro-Palestinian activists and members of the neighborhood's large Orthodox Jewish community. The woman, a neighborhood resident in her 30s, told AP she learned of the protests after hearing police helicopters over her apartment. She walked over to investigate around 10:30 p.m., but by then the protests had mostly dispersed. Not wanting to be filmed, she covered her face with a scarf. As soon as I pulled up my scarf, a group of 100 men came over immediately and encircled me, said the woman, who spoke to AP on the condition of anonymity because she feared for her safety. Look at this. Look at this. All these men after this woman. And she's a resident. She wasn't even a part of the protest. And even if she was, still. They were shouting at me, threatening to grape me, chanting death to Arabs. I thought the police would protect me, but they did not intervene. As the chants grew in intensity, a lone police officer tried to escort her to safety. They were followed for blocks by hundreds of men and boys jeering in Hebrew and English. The sad part about this are the boys who participated, the kids. Now, I say again, imagine if it was the other way around. If there was 100 black men and boys following a woman down the street, it would be a different story today. Different story. At one point, she and the police officer were nearly cornered against a building. I felt sheer terror. The woman recalled, I realized at that point I couldn't lead this mob of men to my home. I had nowhere to go. I didn't know what to do. I was just terrified. After several blocks, the officer hustled the woman into a police vehicle, prompting one man to yell, "Get her." The crowd erupted in cheers as she was driven away. The woman, a lifelong New Yorker, said she was left with bruises and mentally shaken by the episode, which she said police should investigate as an act of hate. I am afraid to move around the neighborhood where I've lived for a decade. It doesn't seem like anyone in any position of power really cares. A police spokesperson said one person was arrested, 5 others were issued summons following the demonstration. And I would say if you were black guys doing that shit, you probably wouldn't have even lived to tell that story. Goes on to say here, Eric Adams said on Sunday that police were investigating a series of incidents stemming from clashing protests on Thursday that began when a group of anti-Israel protesters surrounded the Chabad Lubavitch World Headquarters, a Jewish house of worship in Brooklyn. He said police had spoken to a different woman on the pro-Palestinian side of the protest who suffered injuries after she was harassed by counter-protesters. Photos shared online showed that woman with blood streaming down her face. I saw that picture. I can't show that on here. Let me be clear. None of this is acceptable. In fact, it is despicable. From Eric Adams. New York City will always be a place where people can peacefully protest, but we will not tolerate violence, trespassing, menacing, or threatening. But you do. And you did. This was her own community that did this to her. It's her neighborhood. It goes on to say here, previously convicted in Israel of racist incitement and support for a terrorist group, he has called on his supporters to confront Palestinians and assert Jewish power. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all happening right in front of you. It's all happening right in front of you. And this is, our government is backing it. Now think about all the representatives that represent New York, right? Where's Hakeem Jeffries? Where's Richie Torres? Why aren't they issuing a statement? Why aren't they calling out this act of violence? Why are they so quiet? Because they support the lobby group and they take money from the lobby group, AIPAC, that advocates for Israel. Pay attention to who's quiet, folks. Pay attention to who doesn't want to say anything when there is violence that is done by the Jewish community towards others, but are quick to speak up when they feel there is violence from the pro-Palestinian protests. Those agents, and I call them agents, Hakeem Jeffries and Richie Torres, they are agents of white supremacy. I call it like I see it. Anything to keep their seat and to advance their political career. And Black people, we need to have a serious conversation about just being so quick to support people just because they're the same complexion as us, even when they clearly sell out to our faces and they don't advocate for our issues and they continue to sit up there and support white supremacy. Chris Hedges said something, and I think you guys need to hear this. I'm greatly concerned about this. Listen.
I'm deeply concerned about the escalation in fascist repression we would see in the aftermath of a potential major terror attack in the U.S. Yes, Tim, that is probably my primary concern. Given what we've done in Gaza, given the slaughter that we have aided and abetted, whole families wiped out. And remember, in Gaza, families live together either in a block, oftentimes because it's one of the most densely packed places on the planet, or even in the same apartment building. Oftentimes when a son or a daughter will get married, they'll simply add another apartment to the building. And so when they're wiped out, you've destroyed an entire generation. So you have, at this point, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who've been completely dispossessed, abandoned. They feel correctly. They've been forgotten by all of the global community, with maybe the exception of Yemen and Hezbollah, maybe. And that trauma, that suffering, that anger will eventually lead to, what the CIA call blowback. And I think it's inevitable that there will be some kind of an attack, a lashing out at these forces, particularly the United States, that have enabled this genocide. And you're right, that's a gift to the Trump administration. And they'll use it in the same way the Nazis used the Reichstag fire to impose martial law, or in the case of Stalin, the assassination of Kirov. That's a big concern of mine. And at that point, then, as bad as things are, things will get much, much worse.
Yeah. And I think Chris has a point, because the thing is, you can't just continue to beat a group of people down and then you expect them to just say, okay, whatever, we're just going to put up with this. Right. Now, I want to show you something else, because you need to see why these things are happening. Leaked audio here from AIPAC CEO. Listen to them basically brag about how they control Congress, right? How this lobby interest group is controlling the politicians. Listen to this.
I hear the leaked audio of the CEO of AIPAC talking about how pretty much they have compromised every single administration in our government, including Trump's. Didn't I tell y'all? Matter of fact, let y'all hear the audio first and then I'll come right back.
Lobby the executive, but as we were talking about, there was a discussion earlier about Congress being representatives of the people. Well, the White House has to be responsive to Congress. And so it's working with, at the time, our friends on the Democratic side of the aisle to apply pressure the way that they know how to an administration, as it will be with this administration. I was talking about the people who will get appointed into some of these jobs. Look at the top level, you talk about Marco Rubio and Michael Waltz. Those three people have something in common. They all serve in Congress. They all have relationships with key actors in their communities.
So do you hear that? He's talking about like these politicians, and he mentioned people that are part of Trump's administration, but they're part of both parties, like that are part of this, how they're serving AIPAC, right? This is the CEO of AIPAC, Elliot Brandt. caught on the hot mic bragging about how they control the Trump administration in Congress, and not just the Trump administration, all of the administrations as long as I have been alive.
Lines of communication are good. Should there be something questionable or curious that we need access on the conversation to? You never know. One of the first candidates I ever met with as an AIPAC professional in my job as being candidate for Congress was a guy named John Ratcliffe. He was challenging a longtime incumbent member of Congress in Dallas. And I just said, this guy looks like he could run the race, and go talk to him. He had a good understanding of the issues. And a couple of weeks ago, he took the oath as the CIA director.
Remember when I made a video talking about a certain group of people that JFK said needed to sign up for being foreign adversaries of our country, and they never got a chance to do it because he was taken out? Everything, they don't just run amok in American government, they run amok in every fucking government. They've been doing it for centuries. We need to get them the fuck out of our country. I'm talking to Democrats. I'm talking to Republicans. We are fighting each other when these people are funding both sides.
What I tell you guys? What I tell you? Both sides, Democrats and Republicans, all to do the bidding for Israel. As part of the reason why we really don't practice America first, as part of the reason why you got all these other countries where everybody got a job. You look at Israel, they have free healthcare, they have free public college, but our politicians say, no, you can't have it. Now make this make sense, ladies and gentlemen. We give them $3.8 billion every year. They have free healthcare, they have free public college, but our government is telling you, no, you can't have it. And they have managed to find a way to convince people that they tell the conservatives it's those crazy radical lefties and they want socialism. So then you hate us. And then on the other side, they tell lefties, progressives, liberals, no, we're not all the same, but those who would tend to support the Democratic Party or those policies somewhat in a shape or form, then they come over to our side and say, those conservatives are crazy and they want you gone, especially if you're a minority. Don't ever, try to do anything with them. If anything, you got to vote for the Democratic Party because God knows they are going to try to take everything from you and you're not going to even have any Medicare or anything like that. But our government has a lobby group who has the government doing the bidding for Israel first. There is no American first in this country. There is no America first. If it was America first, we wouldn't have sent jobs overseas. If it was America first, we would build our own machines for our own factories and not depend on supplies and these machines to be built in other countries. There is no America first. Stop it with this lie. Do not believe it. Do not allow these people to brainwash you. It is Israel first. And that's what it's been as long as I've been alive. Now you ask yourself this question. They don't want you to have these things, and it's not because they cannot afford it. They don't want you to have it because they don't want some of us to have it. They didn't want you to have health care because they didn't want Black people to have it. I've gone over this on the show before. They wanted us to die off. And what drives me crazy is people really feel like they really got you out there thinking, well, if you support the Democrats, then we can push. You ain't pushing shit. I want to get this through everybody's thick skull. There is no push them against AIPAC. You can't push people against their owner. You have to get the owner out. And that's what people don't want to admit. They don't want to admit it, but they fucking know it. They know it. They know you can't get, they know you can't, these people aren't going to fight back against AIPAC. If they do, they're gone. They're not going to have a job, a political career anymore. That's what they're asking them to do. And the majority of politicians are not going to take that risk. It's all controlled. That's why Ben-Gvir can come here and he can talk hate and he can push people to attack other people and walk right out of this country like nothing happened. That's why. But you had black guys getting stopped and frisked from walking down the street. You have a guy who come from a whole other country come into your country, come into New York City, pushing this shit, telling them, oh, go after her, etc., whatever, go get them and yada, yada. Nothing happens. So until everybody fully understands that it is controlled, we won't get anywhere. That's step one. You voting for said Republican, said Democrat does not change anything for lobby interest groups, and it damn sure don't change anything for Israel or AIPAC. Period. We'll let her finish here.
And causing us to fight each other. They're making all of the plays. They're making all of the rules, not our fucking government. We've been saying for the longest that we have a shadow government, and it's them. They are our government. While we're out here going back and forth, arguing on these social media apps, hating each other because we voted a specific type of way. So we're fucked either way. We no longer have a voice in our country anymore because our vote damn near really don't even matter. He just proved it. No matter who's in office, they hold the cards.
Yep.
So Democrats, y'all need to wake up. Republicans, y'all need to wake up. We really damn near all we got right now. The American people, the ones who actually took time out of their day to go cast their vote, ones who have to worry about the high cost of living, ones who have to worry about their children possibly being harmed or not educated properly in these schools. They're the ones that create the education system. They're the ones that create and set the standards of living. Y'all marching out here for the wrong shit. Get it together. We got to do something, y'all. This just pissed me off.
That's why Ben-Gvir can come here and do what he did. And that's the hard truth that people don't want to reckon with. I want to say all people, but I think a lot of people don't want to reckon with that hard truth right there. They don't want to reckon with it, because then they may have to admit, are you telling me that voting for Kamala or Trump doesn't really move the needle for Americans, for economic issues, etc.? We don't come first economically. Israel comes first economically. They make sure they got money for them. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.